Hey there guys, how it goes, and thanks for watching. It's been a while and I really have no excuses why it took so long to make this video, but now it's here. And I really hope you will watch the whole video, because there's some connection in this video and some stuff in this video that nobody had ever seen and figured out before and put together. There's lots of paths, you know, and we actually connected north of the map with the south of the map. There's a connection here, and it's telling a story we need to pay attention to. So please watch the whole video. It's 2 hours, but or maybe it's too much information in one video, but I feel I have to do it. You know, you can always, you know, take a break, you know, make a snack and roll a tea and come back and continue watching the video. You know, I will hope you will watch the whole video, because there's so many new stuff in there. But when other gives up, we continue. Another funny thing is sometimes people come to me and say, we solved this mystery, and listen, okay, tell me, show me. And they start to telling and speaking and show me stuff and pictures and tell me, here's the egg, you know, here's the egg, you know, this is the blah blah blah. And I realize in 1 or 2 minutes I don't listen to what they're saying. And I stop them and I ask them a very, very simple question. Besides, you read something on Reddit, saw some videos on YouTube, and you know, study the map, you know, but tell me, what did bring you here to this point, to this fact, to this conclusion? What bring you here? What is the story in the game that bring you to this conclusion? Tell me, what bring you there? And nobody can tell me that. So, and there you have it. So, with all respect, you know, and not to offend anybody, but it's not how it's working, you know. That everything in this map is way more connected than we can possibly imagine. How the fuck Rockstar did this mystery, how the fuck Rockstar did this, create this map, you know, I really don't know. But please watch the whole video, guys, and see you later. Love you. Peace. Bye.
Join us, please.
No, please, no.
No,
no.
The yoga is for sharing. Come, Miguel, come. Awesome.
So, Fab, if you can make me as happy and mellow as my wife, it'll be a job well fucking done.
We are all on our own journeys, Miguel.
I'm about to feel some emotions, all right.
Remember, children, do not fear the unknown. We are the unknown.
They're here. They're surrounded.
The reuniting with God consciousness at this point is also depicted in the symbolism of the third eye chakra, where we see the sun and the moon shown on either side of the triangle. The triangle points downwards, representing ethereal and divine forces being brought down onto the physical plane. The sun is symbolic of the male twin soul, and the moon is representing the female twin soul. It is at this point the Trinity are reunited, and this is symbolically represented by the triangle over the large white circle in the middle.
Okay, let's begin.
My name's spoken in vain 90% of the time.
Oh, I'm sorry. I had the turntable at the wrong speed.
yoga is for sharing. Come, Miguel, come.
Awesome.
Come, Miguel, come. Awesome. Miguel, come. Miguel, come.
So Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, I'm doing yoga and meditation. So Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, I'm doing yoga and meditation.
Ancient philosophy talked about an end of time and a transformation of humanity. And while they could tell us about when this might occur, they really didn't underline why it would occur. Now we know why we are facing our imminent extinction on this planet and coming to those prophecies and making them real. And that is this. We base our world on knowledge. Knowledge is power. Lack of knowledge is lack of power. Well, the knowledge that we've been operating with for many centuries, and the last couple hundred years specifically, the new scientific knowledge, is not actually found to be valid today, which means we've been operating from misperceptions, misbeliefs about the world comes. Well, the idea is very simply this: if you don't understand, if you have a misperception of the world, it can kill you. And so the significance, I'll give a simple example, is that if we had an anorexic person standing right here, and you and I looked at this anorexic person, we say, well, this person's near death, skin and bones. And we should ask them, what do they see when they look in the mirror? They say, well, I look in the mirror, I see this overweight, bloated person. And so they have a misperception. And what does the misperception lead to? It causes their brain to send chemistry to their body to reduce more weight. And because of a misperception, they're going to kill themselves. There was nothing wrong with their biology, it was their perceptions that were wrong. Well, we have three misperceptions that are causing our extinction. One is the belief that the material realm is all there is and all that matters, so that matter is all that matters. Number two is the belief that genes control our lives, which make us victims because we didn't pick the genes that can't change them and they have power over us. And the third one is an extension of Darwinian belief that says that the world is based on a struggle for survival. We all know about the rat race. Why is it a rat race? Because our fundamental belief is that if you don't go out there and fight to stay alive, you'll be trampled and killed. And so we see a world based on this Darwinian world, a nightmare of a struggle for survival, which involves war and competition and gouging each other, for each one climbing up on the back of another to stay alive. So what's wrong with these perceptions? Well, number one, the belief that matters is all that matters. That's a Newtonian belief. Quantum physics has come in and said, boy, did you make a mistake on that. It's not the physical matter that's most important, it's the invisible stuff you can't see, because it's the invisible fields, the energy fields, that shape matter in the same way that a magnet can cause the shaping of iron filings. So if you look at the structure of what's going on in here and blame it on the structure, no, you missed it. It's based on the invisible. But the biggest part of contribution to that invisible from us is our mind. Our minds are shaping the world. So whatever we believe is like a magnetic field that shapes our biology and our life to conform to the belief. So it says, wow, if that's true, then all of a sudden we should put more emphasis on the mind than on the body part. And that if we change our beliefs, then we can save our world. Myth number 2 was that genes control us, the belief of a victim. Again, cancer's in my family, what can I do about it? Might as well enjoy my life now. And all of a sudden we become irresponsible. Why? Because I said, well, if I can't control it, why do I care? And then irresponsible nature leads us to the extinction as well. The new science says, no, genes don't control your life, your mind controls your life. That your mind, acting through a new thing called epigenetic control, a new mechanism by which the environment or the perception of the environment controls our genetics, is what controls our heredity. And all of a sudden it says, well, then it means if you change your mind or your perception, then you change your biology. And the answer is absolutely. So you're a master of your life rather than a victim. And the third one that says, get all the matter you can, take it from the earth, rape the planet, gather it all in your yard because that's a measure of your success. Turns out, no, it's not. And the competition you use to gather all this matter is actually now found to be destructive, because evolution is based on a cooperation. When we look into the biosphere, it's all a balanced, harmonious community except for us, because our belief says it's a struggle. The plants and the animals behind me, they look at it as this is a garden for them. We're the only ones that are out of the garden by a misperception. Since perception controls life and misperceptions can kill you, then you recognize the fundamental misperceptions on which we base our civilization are the destructive elements leading to our extinction. And when the new beliefs come into the public, civilization will take a radical turn and move off into a new situation of thriving and harmony and holism. That's the dimension that we're going to. This is the end of the civilization of the old beliefs and the transition into the new one.
peace. ready to get freaky?
I'll be at the marina. Come pick me up.
In the beginning, there was a kingdom in space, a grand empire, kind of like the British Empire. And the people of this empire were mammals. They had big brains, they had money, education and technology. They had weaponry with which to conquer other races, and they had a patriarchal, class-based society. One of the mammals near the bottom of this hierarchy was a guy named Kraff. Now Kraff was blessed and cursed. He was sharper than your average man, even among a race of brainy types, but he was physically weak, unassertive, and emotionally immature, probably due to poor parenting. Because of this, he didn't really do very well with women and tended to just be an embarrassment. He was what modern dating experts call an omega male. So he decided to reject the culture that rejected him and go his own way. He set sail from his home planet in a spaceship and went looking for a new world, kind of like America. A new world where Kraff could be the boss. Eventually, he found a suitable planet and landed his ship. This was Earth, and at the time of his arrival, the dominant life form was a body-oriented, red-skinned reptile species. One lizard in particular, an eye-catching female, aroused Kraff's interest immediately. They say opposites attract, and these two were like night and day. Sappho, as she was called, was a survival machine. Adaptable, ferocious, and sexy. Basically everything that he was not. He decided he had to conquer this land and have her for a mate. With the benefit of her instincts and strength, and his dexterity and intelligence, their children could be a master race. Who knows how he pulled it off? Perhaps he bribed the lizard people with trinkets from his advanced civilization. Maybe he used some of his superior technology to exterminate any opponents. In any case, Kraff was soon king of his new world. Sappho was pledged to him, and he set about securing his legacy. Now he took Sappho by force, cutting a gash into her abdomen and extracting her eggs directly. Then, with the benefit of some genetic tinkering and his chemically enhanced fertility, Kraff fertilized the eggs with his own semen and incubated the resulting zygotes artificially.
Despite the rape, Sappho stayed by the side of her new husband. Perhaps this was because her race had learned to respect the alpha as a matter of survival. Perhaps it was because he controlled all the resources, or maybe she knew he wouldn't let her see the children otherwise. Kraff had big plans for this newly combined reptile and mammal species, and he hashed out a system for their development and future. This was the beginning of his Epsilon program. When the first Epsilons were born, they looked far more like each other than either of their parents, but it was still possible to tell which genes were dominant in a given individual. Those taking after their lizard mother Sappho would have her red colouring, especially in the hair, while Kraff's lineage was expressed in the form of birthmarks, mirroring the prominent blue mark on his penis-shaped head. This first generation were taught language and social customs according to Kraff's will, and instructed to interbreed. Being one generation removed from lizards, incest was not uncomfortable for the Epsilons, and these first branches of the family tree bore much fruit. Kraff hid the purpose of sex from his children, denying that sperm existed or that there was any connection between sex and pregnancy, in order that they not question and enjoy the act for its own sake.
Indeed, males and females were mandated to pair off and shag a specific number of times a week to increase the diversity of genetic pairings and therefore mix and recombine the DNA in as many ways possible.
After a couple of generations, diversity in the Epsilon population was sufficient that Kraff could introduce an incest taboo, thereafter forbidding sexual union between immediate relatives. On the other hand, one's brother-brother, sister-sister, or brother-uncle, being a couple of generations removed, were all fair game at an Epsilon orgy. Things seemed to go well at first, and the children were mostly obedient of their father, but he noticed a disturbing trend in those offspring that swung more to the red, lizard-like side of the gene pool. They were less interested in their obligations to the wider community, and tended to be more independent and wild at heart. Kraff began to hand out harsher punishments for disobedient reds, condemning them to be raped or tortured for doubting his word. The especially obedient descendants, those who tended to be a purer blue genetically, Kraff would welcome to his inner circle, rewarding them for their loyalty to father. Kraf and Zafo were both blessed with extraordinary longevity compared to the Epsilon population's average life expectancy. This seems likely an effect of his advanced technology and adherence to his sexual schedule, or moving against his enemies on the red side. Though they are greater in number and largely control the media, their tolerance of differences may make them weak. The world Zafo and Kraf created for their children hangs in the balance. It's probably healthier for everyone if neither side is successful in moving against the other. Far better for them to remain in harmonious tension than for either of their extreme perspectives to become the norm. The die is already cast. The Epsilon program delivered its intended output recently. The physical form of Kraf reborn as a human being. He was an Omega male once, who became an Alpha in a new world. Now his recombined DNA from generations of mixing has become truth formed into the man we know as Omega.
Remember, children, do not fear the unknown. We are the unknown.
The universe is only one consciousness, but there's many different layers in this consciousness, and three of them is very important for us human here on Earth, and I will show you. You? Oh. And here we have what you call the Earth, the ground, the Earth. And this layer here is the physical consciousness where you can touch things, you can eat it, it's the physical one. And down here we have the subconsciousness, and the subconsciousness is when you're asleep, you're down here, when you're dreaming, is at the subconsciousness. And up here we have, there's many names for it, the enlightened consciousness. So how many times have we seen Michael wake up from a nightmare? We have seen him many times doing that, but we never see him go to bed. So it's going on down here. So could the mission we played before is going on down here at the subconsciousness level since he's wake up from a nightmare? And a lot of funny things about this, the physical consciousness and the sub and the enlightened consciousness is all real. The subconsciousness is a reality, like the physical is a reality. All of them is reality in their own way. When you are dreaming, asleep, when you're asleep and dreaming, is a reality going on. There's no different from the physical reality to the subconscious reality. There's no different. It's all reality. And the next video I will show you most of it going on at the subconsciousness. What is laying down here. There's many things down here like fear, and things you try to hide. So I think it's a little important for the video. So let's go to dinner. Peace.
Once there was an explosion, a bang which gave birth to time and space. Once there was an explosion, a bang.
Yo, I forgot to explain one thing. When you have some shit down here at the subconsciousness, you try to figure out, you can say you're making strings, down here, you're making connection, and the same up here, but mostly down here to try, to connect things, and to figure things out and figure out how you maybe feel that way, how, where the fear is coming from and all this, you know what I mean? And you'll see the video why this making sense. So let's go to dinner. Peace. Man, I'm looking forward to this game like crazy. You know, I have a really high expectation to it, so really looking forward to it. So, but let's see what we can find here, and I will try to explain, you know, as best that I can. So, well, first off, we are at the subconsciousness level. That's meaning he's dreaming. You will see now why I think we're at the subconsciousness level. You see the dream catcher? Now, we have a car here, or a vehicle, and this is symbolic, you know, a vehicle. How can I explain this? If you have a treasure map, you know, what is it that get you to the treasure? It's the idea of gold, you know. How do you get to the treasure? You know, that's the vehicle. So we need some kind of vehicle in the game to get us where we want to go. You know, what is our vehicle? This is what they're showing here. The vehicle we need to use. See, he's trying to help his friend, or the prisoner, what it is. He's trying to help him. Notice the colors of the wristband. And now, this is the third eye. Look at the colors. And now, look how afraid they are of the unknown. Who says this is a bad thing? But because you're afraid, you will see anything as a bad thing, you know. You will see the unknown as a bad thing. That's the problem with being afraid, you know. This is looking crazy. You see all the bundles is broken here, and I think this is some kind of relief of some kind, you know, in something in his mind, in his subconsciousness. Now again, afraid of the unknown. Who says this is a bad thing? Who says that? And he's trying to help him, but for me it looks like that they are helping him. They're pulling him away from the car, you know. But since we're dealing with fear, you know, we see something different. I just see they're helping him, but he chooses to shoot him because of his fear, so we never know. We will never know. He shoot him, he fucking shoot him. What if they're helping him? What if... The inner child is obvious. You will see all the strings. It's coming down now. And see, he's shooting at something. He's shooting at nothing. He's afraid. He's letting fear running him. You know, he's just shooting. And now you will see he doing self-harm because he's afraid of the unknown. He do not know what's happening now, and that's why he's killing himself, or try killing himself, himself. And when he do that, check out the colors of the wristband, it's changing. But he's doing self-harm because he's afraid of the unknown. That's the fucking problem. So many people doing self-harm. So many people. Look, the strings again, coming down to connect. See the novel string? There's a novel string. It's exactly the same you're looking at. It's not different. See the connections? And now this explosion inside the head, this explosions of billions of light inside the head is I have tried it myself a few times, and it's an ignition to higher consciousness. This is what they are showing us here. When Hideo Kojima showing people is try to show when Hideo Kojima shows people is dead, he put them into water. That's mean that Norman Reedus is dead now. The dream is over, and you will see in a few seconds why the dream is over. Is that the is that the alien? It's coming there. Is that the alien we are afraid of? Again, see the strings coming down. And now, in a few seconds, you can see why the dream is over. See, there we have the dream catcher. Yeah, the dream is over. Back to reality. Back to your new life. Get reborn. That's how it is when you get a mental death. You get a new chance to make your own life. And look at this spaceman. Funny, huh? Yeah, it's empty now because he got a new life. And now this is interesting. See, the crater is still here from the explosion, and that means that what's happened in the past is having an effect in the future. So every stupid thing you did in the past has an effect in the future. You know, that's karma. That's fucking karma. Like we have in the entire GTA. It's about karma. But you can always try to make the future better. You know, with changing your attitude. You know, when you get a chance for a new life, the life you decide how to be, you also have the chance to change how you acting against other people, against your surroundings. That's this shit about. I'm pretty sure of what I'm seeing here. You know, I'm pretty sure about it. It looks like a little about the same from GTA. You know, I'm pretty sure about it. Of course, if you don't believe me and not agree with me, that's okay. You know, that's okay. No problem for me. You know. Did you understand everything that he's talking about? No. For så, me neither. Næste af hvad han sagde her. Ikke en skid, heller ikke jeg. So let's take it in English. Well, for me there is no difference. For me there is not much difference here between Death Stranding and GTA 5. You know, the psychological aspect, especially for Michael. You know, we see the death of Michael, and after that he sits at the shrink. You know, try to figure things out, try to make strings to his subconsciousness, to his past, to his fear, to all his bullshit, so he can try to figure out why act like he's doing. You know, he knows there's something wrong, but it's very hard for him to figure out. So, and so it's clearly, you know, the creator is still here, and one of them is Trevor. And Trevor coming back, you know, and the past, you know, is what you call what the fuck you call it? The past will catch up on you, whatever you like it or not, it will. And Michael have to face the fear. So it's the same, you know. It's just a different package, but it's the same content, you know. I see exactly the same. I'm not sure, but I think that there's 3 levels of consciousness in this game. There's subconsciousness, there's the physical, we're here now, and there's the spirituality consciousness. And I think we have all these 3 layers in the game, but we have to separate them. Will it be important for the mystery? I don't know, probably not, but it still give us some, you know, maybe some clues, you know, and some ideas of how we should play this game, which most of us is. We see Michael wake up many times from a nightmare, but what's the nightmare? Was it the mission we played before? You know, I want to share a story with you guys. My old mentor and guru told me this story. When he was very young, he did lots of LSD trips, and in one of those trips, he saw the Earth so far back that nobody can remember, so far back in time that nobody can remember, billions of years back in time. He saw the Earth, and the next thing he saw was a UFO enter the atmosphere and exploding in infinity small fragments, which is spread around the globe. And the next thing he saw was when a sperm cell enter an egg, one of these fragments was attached, you know, follow this sperm cell into the egg, and this fragment was the ego. You know, that's a very, very cool way to see how our consciousness is working. I'm not saying that's a true story, but it's mind-boggling, you know, because so many people, I see this UFO and UFO there, and they're filming and putting on YouTube. You know, I do not know what it is, but I know it's not aliens from another planet, another galaxy, you know, another solar system. It's going on in our consciousness, not in a physical things, you know. It's not how it's work, you know, guys. It's in our consciousness. The UFO was not a physical thing; it was the ego. Try to put your mind around this ego and then see how much is fucked up today for us people, you know. It's a fucked up thing for us. So, back to reality.
keep your strength up, man.
Hey, I'll take a number 9, fat boy.
Give me a number 9, just like his. Let me get a number 6 with extra dip.
I'll have 2 number 9s, a number 9 large, a number 6 with extra dip, a number 7, 2 number 45s, 1 with cheese, and a large soda.
Okay, so just finishing up this concept of 9 being the number of completion. And yes, these are heavy concepts, but 9 is broken down into 3 trinities. So to a lot of the ancients, the number 3 was actually more important than the number 1. 3 was important to the Druids, the Taoists, the Buddhists, and even to some degrees the Hindus, and to the Toltecs and to the shamans of the Americas. The reason why is because they realized something very important, very intrinsic, that we, I think today, most people overlook. We overlook this because we're taught to. We're sort of sold a little bit of a lie that the modern world, modern technology, rationalism, reason will somehow, someday, find the answers to everything, find the answers to the edge of the universe, when it began, find the God particle, so to speak. This is totally flawed thinking according to the ancients. And here's why. If you really look around you in nature, which is all you really can do in order to ascertain your own existence and what's going on around you, why you're here, and how you relate to being here. If you look around, there is nothing in the universe that is singular. There is no one thing, with one exception. Okay, first, there's not one leaf, there's not one tree, there's not one sun, there's not one star, there's not one person, there's not one eye, there's not one hair. There's nothing in the universe that is one except the entirety of the universe itself. So this is infinity. And this is why we will never be able to comprehend it with our limitation, with our reason, with our mind. And the only way that we really, truly tap into infinite consciousness is through being. So, there's a conundrum there. Many philosophies, many teachers will try to tell you what the nature of being is, and then they'll try to point to a path that will lead you there. But the true mystic that's honest with himself or herself doesn't deny the existence of God, doesn't pretend to know how to express it. If they're honest with themselves, they know that it is intrinsically found in the core of being. And the core of being is infinity. So that's it. The trinities of three actually are more prevalent in nature. You see them in nature. We can relate to them in nature. And we don't see this oneness. However, the oneness is still there. It is the only thing that is actually one throughout our entire existence. Something to think about.